my friends. Today we're going to do the four major groups within Judaism. These are four major movements that claim that their approach to Judaism was the correct way, was God's way. It was their path that was going to lead them to salvation. The largest group was the Pharisees. The Pharisees consisted of what we would call today your middle class. This was the group of people that Jesus frequently feuded with. There's some alliteration there. That's a way to remember it. Jesus frequently feuded with the Pharisees. They were lay people. Why did he frequently feud with the Pharisees? Because they were all about laws.
The law!
And if you broke the law, you were considered impure. If you were impure, you're damned. The laws were based both on the written tradition of the Torah and the rest of the Hebrew Scriptures, as well as the oral tradition. You have the Pharisees frequently tearing down people that have no knowledge of the law. And so Jesus had a problem with it. Jesus had the most interaction with this group. Next group, the Sadducees. The Sadducees were your elite group. They were in charge of running the temple. These were your priests. They also composed the majority of the Sanhedrin, the Jewish court system, and they had the most seats on the Jewish court. This was all arranged through Rome. The Romans said to the Sadducees, you can maintain your power, you can maintain your wealth, you can try your own prisoners, as long as you help us keep the peace. Jesus had very little interaction with the Sadducees. If you look at the Synoptic Gospels during his public ministry, Jesus only goes to Jerusalem once. John's Gospel has him going to Jerusalem 3 times. And so in John's Gospel, the role of the Sadducees are more prominent. Historically speaking, the Sadducees really weren't involved with the common person. They kind of kept to themselves. When the temple was destroyed by the Romans in the late 60s, Jerusalem was burned down to the ground, the temple was burned down to the ground, the diaspora began, the Sadducees were killed off. A primary belief difference between the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Whereas the Pharisees believed laws, both written and oral, will save you, the Sadducees said only what is in the Torah alone will save you. So if it's not in the Torah, it ain't important. So what's not in the Torah? Resurrection, life after death, heaven, hell, even the concept of the soul. None of that is in the Torah. Sadducees didn't believe in that. Further, the Sadducees did not believe in a Messiah. There's no reference to a Jewish king or a savior anywhere in the first 5 books. So they didn't believe in resurrection, they didn't believe in Messiah, they didn't believe in life after death. That was really sad, you see. The last 2 groups are the Essenes and the Zealots. These are minority groups. The Essenes were a monastic movement. They were desert dwellers. They believed that life in the city was impure. The city was full of sinners, namely because of the Roman occupation. The temple was corrupt because the Sadducees were in league with Rome. And the primary belief of the Essenes is that the Messiah was coming. We believe that John the Baptist may have been an Essene. He's described in the Gospel of Mark as wearing sackcloth, eating locusts. It's almost as if the student doesn't become the teacher until the teacher is taken away.
Always 2 there are. No more, no less. A master and an apprentice.
Bottom line, they thought the city was corrupt and the Messiah was coming, and the Messiah would come in the desert where it is pure. Think the book of Exodus and the desert wandering and how God provided in the desert. Passionate about Jewish political independence.
We will win ourselves home.
They were a militant group, they were a rebellious group, and they were known for starting revolts. And they wanted to revolt against the Roman occupation. Again, very angry with the Sadducees, angry with anybody that paid taxes to Rome. This was certainly an outcast group. They did eventually begin destruction of Jerusalem, including the temple, and the Zealots all get killed off, as well as the Sadducees and the Essenes just pretty much disappear. They were a hippie movement to begin with. And today's Judaism is actually the offspring of Pharisaic Judaism. Today's Judaism is a Judaism that is based on observance of the laws.
The law!
A zealot is somebody that wanted the Roman government gone. They wanted the king, and they thought the Messiah was going to be a military leader. There are some historians that argue that Judas Iscariot might have also been a zealot. Why do they think that? That name Iscariot, that's not a last name.
You could have fooled me, mister.
Iscariot is a nickname or a title. Dagger carrier is what it means. And who'd be called a dagger carrier unless they were a zealot? And I've seen some Jesus movies where Judas Iscariot is portrayed as a zealot, and he betrays Jesus in order to get Jesus arrested so that the rise against Rome. Of course, that's just a theory.